Well, the Tampa Bay Rays take down the Boston Red Sox and win the series against them as well. This game, a little bit different than the previous evening's game.
And we all needed it. We all needed to see something like on Wednesday evening, which was a pitching masterclass. And let's talk about that, plus timely bombs starting right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. That is the place to get the episode first before getting it on the traditional audio podcast. So if you're hanging for us, you got to go to the YouTube channel first to do that. You can also find us on the social medias, Instagram and X, and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Ulises will be bringing you a mailbag episode tomorrow, or for Friday's episode, however we're doing this thing. It will be happening this week one way or the other. So there's all that. The Rays take down the Boston Red Sox by a score of 3-1. They improve to 85-55 on the year. The Red Sox fall to 72-68 on the year. And some storylines to get to from this one, most notably Mr. Tyler Glasnow striking out 14 in 6 innings and just allowing 3 hits, 1 earned run, and 1 walk.
Unreal. 6 innings, 14 strikeouts for those keeping track at home. That's a possibility of 18 outs that you need to get. That means that 4 of his outs were non-strikeouts. That's, just an impressive outing by Tyler. And there's a lot of little nuggets here that I'm going to throw out. That was his season high, 103 pitches. Gotta love that. He is the first player in team history to have 14 plus strikeouts in multiple games. That's pretty cool. The others to have 14 plus in a game in team history were Archer with 15, Shields with 15, and Price with 14. And I'm pretty sure that David Price game was against Toronto, in Toronto, if my memory serves me right. Also, with these 14 hitters that he struck out in 6 innings, he's now at almost 3 WAR, man. And he has like 3 more starts. It just a tremendous outing by Tyler Glasnow.
Can the Rays, assuming that Tyler Glasnow is fine, healthy, and dandy for the playoffs, do a Milwaukee Brewers CC Sabathia situation, just roll him out every 2 or 3 days, like really go ham with it, especially if they don't have any consideration of utilizing him next season? They are. I'm still kind of validating on that, but unless you really get a crazy offer sheet from another team out there, but that's a guy you can work around, assuming that he can at least give you 130, 140, 150 innings in a season. But it's remarkable what Tyler Glasnow is doing this season. Down the stretch run, getting stronger, getting more impressive. And if you get a chance, he's one of those guys where, I don't think I have to tell anybody this, but you really should get excited to watch. Like I wouldn't say there's too many pitchers out there that, generate enthusiasm, with every pitch. But with him, between the fastball, the slider, and the curveball, it's almost like every offering is an event. And
yes,
is like, this is an Adonis, and this is an athletic freak and maven with what he's been doing. And for anybody that gets the chance, I'm not going to totally gerrymander and steal this guy's work, but David Adler from MLB.com really highlighted what has made Glasnow so successful of late. And it's that balanced usage of the four-seamer, the slider, the curveball, and the balanced velocity. We talk so much about, hey, you need that big differentiation from fastball to off speed. But what Glasnow does, the difference in velocity from four seam to slider is 6 miles per hour on average. The difference from slider to curveball is 6 miles per hour on average. Furthermore, the vertical movement, the drop is even across the board. From four seam to slider, it's 20 inches. From curveball to slider, it's 20 inches. So
Yeah,
that makes it impossible for a hitter, as we basically saw tonight, and we've seen basically since he's returned healthy, for the most part.
and everything was working. I mean, when you look at the strikeouts, 6 from the fastball, 5 from the curveball, and 3 from the slutter. So you have a guy that can just basically manipulate the counts, the pitch mix in a way that, I mean, you saw not only some silly swings, but some silly takes too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that were like a couple of strikeouts. The pitch was right down the middle. I remember one specifically, a curveball. I forget who was at the dish, but I mean, it was a curveball, like just a 12-6 right down, Main Street. But when you have that type of, like you said, vertical movement, and when you know how to manipulate that pitch mix so that they don't know what's coming, it's going to be very difficult, even if you put it right in the middle of the strike zone. So you got to give kudos to Tyler Glasnow. And speaking about kudos, I do want to, I forgot to say where I got that information. Trisha Whitaker put a couple tweets out there that I read, and
Nice.
Race Metrics, who is also a tremendous Twitter follow. If you haven't yet followed Race Metrics, please do. Smart dude.
So and I think I know your answer on this, but Tyler Glasnow, will he be in a Rays uniform in 2024?
I think it would be silly for the Rays front office to not have him in his plans. Yeah, he has to be.
Come October 1st, 2024, is he in a Rays uniform? Or I guess I should say whenever the end of the trade deadline is, August 1st, 2024.
August 1st, 6:01 p.m.
Yes, whenever the deadline is. I don't know anymore. Who knows? It could change, based on what Rob Manfred has up his sleeve.
I think so. And really, it's more of a, I just don't see a scenario where it's a smart baseball move for them to move Tyler Glasnow. If you want to have this window remain open, if the window is seemingly getting shut, then okay, you got to move them. But if you still have a competitive team out there that can be a 90-plus win team, that can get you into the playoffs. And the whole thing that the whole mantra is, in the playoffs, anything can happen, which mostly I do believe that's true, except for the fact that some teams, I guess, are better prepared when they get to the playoffs, because it can't be all luck. Right. That the Houston Astros just go to 6 straight LCSs. And I know people are going to say, well, trash cans. Okay, that was 1 year. But every year after, they've been there. So I get the whole argument that playoffs are a crapshoot and anything can happen. I get that. But also, you can put yourself in a better situation so that you create your own luck.
Yes. Very well put there. And what Tyler Glasnow, just what he brings to the table, the Pirates as an organization should just forever in time be the laughing stock and should be kicking themselves for eternity for letting him go and not finding a way to make him successful. One other thing on Glasnow that I'll be watching out for, I don't know how important it is to him or the fan out there, but passes his career high in innings for a single season. He's at where's he at right now? Well, I'm looking at Baseball Reference, and it's 93 2/3. I don't believe that's been updated.
No, so that would be he's at 99 and 2/3, and
okay.
I believe so. He's like 10 innings away from his most ever.
And he should, based on how many games are left, he should have at least 4 starts, I would think. So unless something crazy happens, he should get to that marker and should, hopefully get to close to 120 innings, if not more, 125 innings maybe, which I think is a good little barometer to build off of, and would help his free agency case when that happens in year 2025 and beyond as well. We have more to discuss on this, but first we have to something, and that is eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It is the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head over to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to what they call My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit, or your money is returned to you. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a W when the right parts are guaranteed. So I'm imploring you all to get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. That's very important. We know we have some listeners in Australia, United Kingdom, Scotland, wherever it might be. U.S. customers only. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Now, Ulises, for the Rays to win this game, it did take a little inkling of offense, and the Rays got that thanks to Brandon Lowe going yard, Isaac Paredes going yard, and Harold Ramirez going almost yard to the deepest part of the ballpark to get, maybe the longest double that you'll see, one of the longest doubles that you'll see. So home runs afoot for the Rays. It's good to see Brandon Lowe heating up. It's good or weird or odd to see teams continuing to throw pitches up and in or inside to Isaac Paredes that he can turn and burn on. I guess, guys think that they can get it by Isaac Paredes, or that they just spray and pray. They just try to throw it hard and hope it doesn't go into the swing plane. I would think, pitch down and away or something, but what do I know? So that was basically the offensive perspective of things.
Yeah, and that at bat by Isaac was pretty good, because he goes deep basically twice. Once, he pulled it foul, but it was a mammoth shot, and he could have gotten rung up. He held it. He held his bat on the shoulder. The ump does not go and call it. Boom, next pitch, out of here. So very, very good at bat. That was a good baseball at bat to see what could have been with those 3 pitches. And he ends up going deep, which honestly, when you see a guy hit the ball so far away in a foul, it's kind of like a baseball lesson that he's going to strike out, or it's going to be a little, grounder. It's not going to be anything special. Like that was the pitch to destroy. He destroyed it foul. You're not going to, go boom. He goes against it and he goes deep. So that was a very cool one. And Brandon Lowe, man, he's going to definitely hit 20 home runs, which I think we had that talk when he got out of the IL, like, oh, will he get to 20? It's going to be tough for him. Well, he's at 19 right now. So he got on fire. 19. Randy's at 21. Siri is at 25, I believe.
Which is crazy. Yeah, and you have Yandy at 18, Josh Lowe at 18, Luke Raley at 18, and Thou Who Shall Not Be Named at 17. He's done for the year most likely, but you theoretically could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys on your roster hit at least 20 home runs in a season, and Isaac Paredes has a legit shot at 30.
He's 2 away, which that would be fantastic. But you said 8 or 7 more than 20?
I believe 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a potential for 7 because beyond the guy who shall not be named, the next guy after that has like 9, I think.
Okay, yeah, which is CB, right? Okay, so there's 7 that could have 20. Kevin, small trivia question here. Do you know how many? If that's impressive, do you know how many guys the Atlanta Braves lineup has more than 30?
How many guys on the Braves have more than 30 home runs right now?
Yeah,
I'm going to say 3.
I heard this in the broadcast. It was BA who said it. 4 dudes. That's silly. That's silly. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? That's a silly lineup.
Yeah, the Braves are definitely, I mean, we're looking at home run leaders. The Braves have like 50 more than number 2 Dodgers. The Rays are actually number 3 in all of baseball in home runs. So what the Braves are doing is incredible and stupid and just a crazy to believe way. But from the Rays point of view, I don't know or think that we expected this type of power output. And what's really positive about all this is, assuming I know it's the joke's going to get old, outside of thou who shall not be named, those other 7 guys should be on the roster next year.
Yeah, I mean, Luke Raley might have been the weakest link coming into opening day of this year because you didn't know if he was going to make opening day, and he's been terrific. I mean, I think he's at a 2.4 WAR right now, which is really good, and he's shown his defensive capabilities in the corner outfield. I know he has had some missteps in center field. Wait, again, it's like putting Taylor Walls for more than 450 plate appearances. Like, that's not putting him in a position to succeed. For Taylor Walls last year, that was just the need. Well, this year with Margot being out and not a real good center field backup with Manny out, it's up to Luke Raley. You know, it's more of a need than, hey, I need him to but in the corner outfielder, he looks good. In first base, he looks good. He's a masher. He's going to be there next year. And Josh Lowe as well, and Brendan Lowe, and Randy, and Isak, and Siri. And so you're right. You can see that translating next year, but we did not see, for example, did anybody have on their bingo card Isak Paredes being a 30 homer guy? You're lying to yourself because you didn't know that he was going to get this much playing time. Siri being a 25 homer guy. You're lying to yourself if you said that you had that in the bingo card. Like, a lot of things are happening that you did not see coming.
Yeah, and Isak Paredes also has 20 doubles too, so maybe some of those home runs or those doubles translate to home runs in the future as well. So that's positive from that angle. I do want to mention this before we move on to baseball trivia, Name That War, because Ulises, you'll be doing the mailbag episode later on this week. Defense from Ulises Basabe. Basically, he did what Vidal Brujan can't or couldn't do the other night. I mean, whether it's infield in and a diving stop up the middle to his left, whether it's confidently notching over a one-hop throw to first base or leaping to nab a laser, like, he looked cool, confident in that he belongs, which I made this point, I think, while you were in Japan. It's one thing to take over for Yunel Escobar or Denny Hechavarria or Brad Miller, but when you're replacing a guy like Willie Adames, for example, or WF, those are big shoes to fill. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of eyes on you, and he just seems like he rolls with the punches and nothing bothers him, and he's having fun, and he could be a real nice find for this organization, depending on whatever happens with the Franco situation. If he gets reinstated, then maybe the Rays, cut their losses and trade him to another organization. They're confident in Basabe, or vice versa. They keep Wander around and they Basabe has put enough tape together where another team's like, man, we got to have that guy. Like, you have options basically now with Basabe. Or you keep both.
Or now Taylor Walls can go to a team like, the Dodgers, where they would need a guy that they don't care that if he doesn't hit, but they want, like a Miguel Rojas, right? They got Rojas. Well, now they can have Taylor Walls. Here you go, TW on your team, and then you keep Ulises Basabe. I was making this point the other day on Twitter. How much more does Basabe need to hit offensively so that the overall value edges towards Ulises? Because that's the most important thing. So I agree with you. He's having fun out there. Like, you see him smile. Like, he's going to become a fan favorite with his play, with his charisma. I don't see how the front office and Cash and Company can put the lineup together and put Vidal Brujan and Ulises Basabe being available and not somebody in that room saying, hey, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I need somebody in that room to say, guys, perhaps not. Perhaps we've seen enough Vidal, and the time will come when that happens. But
and I think it's going to come sooner rather than later, because you have Carson Williams already in AAA knocking on the door, Junior Caminero knocking on the door. Basabe, I think, could be a mainstay, or at least shows himself more deserving in a big league. And so somebody's going to be on the outs. Multiple somebodies are going to be on the outs. And, there's got to be some sort of sentiment of, nobody's going to say this, but when you're in the clubhouse and you look at the starting lineup and you see Vidal Brujan in there versus somebody else, it's like, oh, okay, that's not good.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense when you have a better option in the on the bench. The bench, it doesn't make sense. Real quick, when you were talking about Tyler Glasnow, like how the Pirates should be ashamed or shamed, you without naming names, but you and I knew a guy that was in that Pirates front office at the time that trade, and he was adamant that was the right choice. He no longer is in the Pirates organization. He's in another organization, but I could not put. After seeing so many Tyler Glasnow interviews, this guy said, Tyler doesn't. He's kind of an airhead. He doesn't really, And now seeing so many interviews with Tyler, I'm like, you're the airhead. Tyler is so. He is a very thoughtful young person that knows how to articulate his points. Tyler Glasnow is everything you would probably want to have as a role model / baseball player, whatever you may have. Tyler Glasnow is that. So I just wanted to throw a little bit more.
No, I think that's great. Pirates. And I think he's a good ambassador for the game too. So he's the type of personality that professional sports needs more of, quite frankly. And maybe it was just a case of the Pirates weren't willing to bend, or they weren't willing to have a personality. Maybe they were just too rigid in their pitching techniques and coaching techniques. And, you want to fit, you want cookie cutter pitchers instead of, having some creativity and realizing that we have something special here. This isn't a guy that should be, throwing 92 mile an hour sinkers or whatever. Like, we can do something with this guy. He's an outlier that we should do pretty much everything we can to try to make him successful for himself and for our organization as well. So, so that was very well put with that. All right, moving on to baseball trivia and Name That War. My trivia question involves the Rays' upcoming opponent, the Seattle Mariners, and we've discussed it a little bit on the program. Home runs, not for the Rays this time, but the Mariners. I have in front of me a list of the home run leaders in a Mariners uniform for their career. I need 5 of these 10 names.
A-Rod.
A-Rod is number 5 on the list with 189.
Griffey.
Griffey is number 1 on the list with 417 in an M's uniform.
Edgar.
Last name?
Martinez.
That is correct. Edgar Martinez with 309, number 2 on the list.
Okay, so we've got the old names out of the way. Has anybody recently been there for a long time? Either Cruz or Cano, right? So let's go with Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz, number 6 on the list with 163 dingers.
Okay, Robinson Cano.
Robinson Cano is not on this list.
Oh yeah, maybe he got caught with the Paredes thing. Yeah. Okay. Big boppers. What are we thinking here? Oh wait, Branian. Oh, what was his name? Branian. Am I mispronouncing it? But do you know?
I know who you're saying, but I feel like you're not close enough that I can give it to you.
Russell Branian.
Never mind.
Okay, let's move on. But I know that guy's right. Whoever I'm thinking of. He was a lefty, big bop, 2008, 2010 type guy. Let's see. We need one more, baby girl. Come on, one more. What are we thinking here? Okay, what about currently? Ooh, he might not have a lot of pop, but he did have longevity with them. I think he played there for like 10 years. So, Kyle Seager?
Terrific guess. Number 4 on the list. Ding, 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 ding. 242 career homers. I think a very underrated career for Kyle Seager. Just never made the playoffs, so we never got the spotlight. Somebody named Corey got a little bit more of that. But the list is, and you were thinking of Russell Branian, who is not on the list.
Oh, okay.
But did 192 homers in his career, played 14 years in the bigs. The issue was he played for like 10 different teams. Even played for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays for a brief spell back in 2006. So Griffey, number 1. Edgar Martinez, number 2. I thought you were going to go with this guy. His last name started with a B. Jay Buhner with 307. Seager 4. A-Rod 5. 6. Nelson Cruz. Number 7. An all-time favorite, Alvin Davis. I've never heard of him, quite frankly. Number 8. Sleeper, Raul Ibanez with 156. Number 9, not Aaron Boone, but Brett Boone with 143. And number 10, you know him, you love him, Jim Presley with 115.
Very good. I like that one. Now, I basically did the same thing for Name That War. I picked a Seattle Mariner. And this time, if you have not seen this segment before, Baseball Reference, Name That War is when we take a player from the past and we try to guess their career war according to Baseball Reference, just using our brains. And today's Name That War candidate is former Seattle Mariner and a bunch of other teams, Mike Morse.
Oh, my God. Mike Morse.
Yeah, this is not a good one.
So, man, I get corner outfielder, first base vibes. He might very well have his pension. He might have played 10 years in the bigs, if not maybe 8 or 9. I don't think he quite got to the level of Russell Branian, but I'm kind of thinking in that ballpark.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of another comparison. Maybe like a Kendrys Morales-esque career, but maybe not as much average. I'm going to say He hit maybe 140 career homers and had a 264 career batting average. Probably had a couple seasons where he had, 60 to 70 RBI. Maybe most home runs in a season was like 19. That's about what I got for Michael Morse. You bottle that up together, you stir it around, you put it in a blender, and his career WAR is 10.
Okay. Well, his slash line is a 274, 331 on base, 457 slug. That's a 788 OPS. That's a 115 OPS plus. He had 105 career home runs. His highest total in a single season was in 2011 with the Washington Nationals, where he had 31 home runs. He played for the Mariners, the Nationals, the Orioles, the Giants, and the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Miami Marlins. For 13 years, his career WAR is a whopping 4.0.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
I would have thought with those numbers he'd have a little higher than 4, but I guess the defense probably held him back or didn't do him much favors there.
Yep, defense, man. Defense matters.
He's done some TV work I'm looking at with the Marlins and the Nationals. Interesting. Florida boy as well. Again, terrific what he was able to do in that longevity, but very unforgettable. Like nothing about Michael Moore says, I remember this guy.
You know what I do remember him is he tried to Bryce Harper was, I think John Boy did a breakdown of this. Harper and Strickland get into it in a fight, and Mike Morse just beelines it into the brawl, and somebody just like knocks him on the arm, and then he twists it in a way he never could come back from that injury. So he basically got a career-ending injury because of a damn brawl.
Holy cow.
So I said this on one of those solo episodes while I was away, that there's some sort of impotence that comes with the Yankees hitting the Rays 12 times and the Rays only hitting them 2 times, and you want to respond. Think of Mike Morse. That could happen to Randy. That could happen to Brendan Lowe. That could happen to anybody. So I know there's some impotence there, and you want to really rip their heads off. The smart thing is not to do anything.
Yes, I concur with all that. He's got a interesting Twitter account. He just retweets things, really, I think. But anyway, Michael Morse, there it is. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Hope you all enjoyed this episode and the reunited duo of Ulises and Kevin in our humble abodes here. Hopefully our internet connection's a little better. My end's always going to suck, but Ulises in random hotels in California, sometimes doesn't work out that well. So thanks for bearing with us on all that. In the meantime, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good one.